Hey, everybody. Welcome back to Exploragonians, a travels misadventures podcast. I'm Katie.
And I'm Jordan. We're co-hosts. Wow.
We are a bunch of cool cats talking about travel shenanigans that... Wow.
You mean me wow.
Meow.
Yeah.
We're talking travel. We're talking shenanigans. Are we talking advice?
Barely.
We're just talking.
We've gone many places throughout the world. We've gotten into like some really ridiculous situations and a lot of moments of serendipity. And this week is one of those serendipitous moments that you'll just have to listen to and hear how it unfolds. But this week, we're taking you to Missoula, Montana.
ZooTown.
And we'll tell you why it's called ZooTown. We'll also tell you about this like ridiculous concert we stumbled onto.
And ridiculously good pizza place.
All that and more on this week's episode of Exploragonians Travel Misadventures Podcast. Bonjour.
Bonjour.
Bon voyage.
1, 2, 3, 4.
So, explorers at home, I got
Okay.
way too close to the microphone.
I kind of did one of these. I said, do you want to build a snowman?
Jordan did so loud. It like activated an eye twitch. Like, I don't know what happened. Like, you startled my body and now my left eye is just twitching.
I like frightened you on a molecular level.
Anyways, I'm just going to deal with that as we start this pod.
So something that we were just talking about is Katie is exceptional at nicknames. Where did that come from?
I think I was just given it as a gift from the gods.
What do you think? What have you done with that gift?
I give people nicknames whether they want it or not, and I think I don't think I was aware of it until you brought it up, and I was just like, I'm just doing my thing.
Yeah, the free association of your mind is a beautiful thing. Like some of the nicknames that you've said, I'm like, I'm like, I don't know about that one. But
Jordan doesn't like his nickname, which I just give him, like, it's like Spanish flair, so I just call him Horton.
It's so weak compared to some of the other ones you've done.
But to me, it's kind of romantic. It's like,
You get that Latin.
Horton.
You've never done Horton. I am very bad at nicknames. I've always been really bad at nicknames. Always.
Well, it was a gift from the gods.
Yeah, they took it away from me and they gave it to you.
Well, that's okay. I mean, you tried to give me a couple.
Yeah, a couple cutesy, we're dating nicknames.
I didn't think it was that cute. One was he called me Legs.
Which is true. You have two of them.
Right. It's like if I called you Arms.
Well, that makes sense. I got the arms of an orangutan.
Would you prefer Arms over Horton?
Maybe. Arms is kind of fun.
Hey, Arms.
It's also the name of a Nintendo Switch game I've never played.
Okay.
Hey. Oh, you could call me like Knees. I've got
Okay.
knees.
I think we should move away.
Okay. What are some of the nicknames you're proudest of? Because you called a couple of your classmates like Cow and Chicken.
Well, but that was like product of the time, right? Like I was just exposed to Cartoon Network, and that was a show, and I think it was about like two friends and these two people, and so in my defense, there was just these two girls in my class, and they were like attached at the hip, and I was like, oh, you guys are like Cow and Chicken, and then I don't know, it just stuck, and I think,
Oh no.
and I think that probably to those, not me, they probably thought I was like insinuating there was, and I was like, oh, Cow and Chicken. I don't know.
Called one a cow. Called one a
see,
coward.
But see, I am a farm girl, and so to me, it was like, oh, Cow and Chicken, like farm animals, great.
Beautiful agriculture.
Right. So I don't know.
What's up, wheat stock?
Hopefully, maybe I should like reach out to them, be like, hey,
Hey, cow.
hey.
Anybody tip you over recently?
God.
You also, sometimes the nicknames borderline offensive. Like you called one of our classmates who had red hair Carrots.
Yeah. And
You don't see anything wrong with that?
I don't think, my brain was still developing, I was a child and we had a great relationship. Yeah, no, would I call him that today?
Probably.
Yes, I would.
Because he also called you blonde and you were famously a brunette.
Yeah.
Very-
So this lovely demeanor I've always had.
I once called a friend that I had who was a redhead. I called it, yeah, he had a short temper. I called him Hades once because, the Hercules movie just came out. That really pissed him off.
Oh my God.
And I was like, well, you're not proving me wrong.
Wow.
Yeah.
Red hair and you're calling him Hades.
I'm not proud.
It sounds like you're proud.
Also, Hades mostly has blue hair.
Another friend.
Another ginger?
No, just another friend I called her Spaghetti because her hair, like she would put
Noodles in her hair?
No, I think she put like some gel or mousse, and they would like get like these little curls and like so stringy. I don't know.
Were they curls?
I don't think these are
spaghetti noodles, not curly.
okay.
It's more of a rigatoni.
The point that I am making, I guess, is like I don't think my nicknames in that moment were the best I could do, but when I give somebody a nickname, it's just what I am doing, but it always catches on. So, like, I wasn't the only person calling these people cow and chicken and spaghetti, and I wasn't telling people to call them that.
Wow.
Anyway, and yeah, just like Horton. I think other people call you Horton.
Yeah, that's weird. It's like, put that away.
But, what's really weird is when I call you Jordan.
Oh.
Yeah, see, it doesn't sound right.
A hard J sound. Hey, explorers, let's go someplace today.
Let's blast off to Missoula.
Missoula. Are you getting emotional thinking about Missoula, Montana?
I don't know what's going on. Missoula, Montana.
Explorers, I'm going to say that we both had a decent amount of coffee before we started this episode, and I had full dairy. You had oat dairy. And
wow, don't call me out.
And people with your, when your voice is your instrument, you shouldn't have dairy. Maybe that's impacting what's going on.
I don't think that's impacted me. I think that's other stuff.
It's the emotions.
Yeah, we could have had tea or hot water. I think that probably would have been a better choice.
No. Coffee.
Okay, well, we're just gonna have to deal with that.
So, Missoula, Montana. It is a city in western Montana. It is the second most populous city in Montana.
The second?
I know. I was also surprised by that.
Wow.
Didn't think it was that big. But also, cities in Montana are all relatively small.
Is Bozeman the first?
Wrong.
Helena?
Wrong.
I don't think so.
I don't even think Helena cracked like the top 5.
I don't even think I can name another one.
Billings.
Oh, yeah, Billings.
Oh, yeah, Billings.
I don't count Billings.
Poor Billings.
Okay, I'm sorry.
You didn't even count. It's like Grand Rapids or Grand Fork or Grand Hall, like one of those. Grand Falls. Grand Falls. That's like one of the big ones. That's where Reggie
Watts?
Yeah, Reggie Watts is from. I was going to say Reggie Miller because, we're talking about NBA earlier.
Okay, if you haven't looked up Reggie Watts.
Dude, I mean, talk about a child of Montana. He's hilarious.
And very musically inclined and speaking to my soul.
Hilarious. Okay, he's not from Missoula. Maybe he's never been.
But we have.
We've been twice. Have you been multiple times? I mean, technically twice is multiple times.
I was trying to rack my brain. If I have been before, it was just like driving through.
Okay.
So
not like, you and I when we just drive through.
You and I basically just drove through Missoula, but both times we did a quick pit stop. So we have not spent the night in Missoula. Sad.
I know. But so we have done a similar drive through 2 different times to Missoula.
Where we're doing driving all day, long hours, and then we roll up to Missoula late at night.
Missoula always seems to be like the first major stop on these like big road trips that we have.
Mm-hmm.
So for your 30th birthday road trip, we did this 10 western states, 10 national park road trip. Missoula was like the first major place that we took a breather. And it was the same exact thing on our cross-continental road trip. Missoula is not near the Oregon coast, but it just seems to be kind of where we end up. I feel like we're drawn to Missoula.
I mean, maybe we need to switch up our route. But anyway.
We talked about switching up the route, but it was we didn't like the way it was going to go the other direction.
Well, let's also talk about another draw. Was our first time there. We stumbled upon this little pizza place.
Late at night, probably an hour before they closed.
Rolling in. And it was such a strong, happy memory. I just remember like watching them like do the dough, and I'm like, what's happening? You know, I mean, isn't that like unique of a thing? But you know, they were stretching the dough, getting it ready, and I feel like the menu was really inspired.
Mm-hmm.
And in that moment in time, I just feel like it was really doing something for us.
You know, we had something with like fig and arugula, which, you know,
Yeah.
in 2018 was like mind blowing.
You know, it's crazy because I also remember fig and arugula.
Wow.
Because I think we were so inspired, we tried to make that at home. And it
Which-
was like some like balsamic glaze or something we did. and-
Balsamic reduction.
Oh, yes, yes.
So we stopped at, I'm going to throw it out, Biga Pizza, which I think is an Italian word for like the way that you make like the sourdough by using like the old dough or like the old like starter from the day before to make your dough for the next day. It opened in 2006 and we had stopped by, I don't even know, I think we just stumbled onto a wood fire pizza place because I think that was like new-ish on our radar. We're like, pizza.
Totally. I mean, it's like, I think it's in the downtown, and that's cute. You know, there's just, we love it downtown. It's cute, and there's parking, and you're walking and talking and whatever.
Okay, the thing about Missoula, Montana for me is that this was like one of the first times that I felt like I was not out of my element necessarily, but like outside of like my realm of knowledge. I truly felt like an outsider, like I was a traveler that had no sense of like where I was at this time. You know, again, by this point, we'd already been to like 5 Asian countries. You'd been to South America and Europe. But for me, like this was like the first big like road trip outside of like my American jurisdiction in my mind.
Oh, that wasn't like Oregon and Washington, and you were like, oh,
Right.
I'm actually not close to home.
Right. I mean, because we had gone through, you know, the tip of Idaho, you know, on this like trip like 6-7 years ago. But, you know, I didn't really count that, you know, just like blew across like, you know, Coeur d'Alene. And it's such a tiny little strip that I didn't even like recognize it. Also, you know, Idaho, it's kissing cousins with Oregon. This is the first time I was like, oh, I'm touching a state that really doesn't touch Oregon.
I don't need to be here right now.
Right. Sorry,
Okay,
Idaho.
that you went out of your way.
Right. And so, yeah, stepping outside of Montana, I mean, it felt like, you know, the trip had started. Like, it felt like we were far from home at that point. It was like, whoa, we're in no man's land. Like, anything can happen. So that's kind of what Missoula felt like to me, even though we weren't there very long. But it was definitely like crossing into Montana. It definitely had that, like, breath of fresh air. It was like, oh, this is, like, special now. And it definitely felt like we were kind of kicking off this trip. And so, yeah, going into, like, Biga Pizza, I remember being in there and being like, nobody knows that I don't know anything. I'm not really supposed to be here. I'm not from here.
Oh my God, that's like imposter syndrome.
I don't know. It's
out
just,
of control.
I think it's better now.
Well, good.
But definitely in this moment, yeah, I definitely felt like an imposter, especially when it came like traveling. Because with the travel stuff, I felt like our I felt like our Asian backpacking trip was kind of a lark. It was a one-off. It was this like whimsical, ridiculous thing that we had done for 3 months.
We did it. We'll probably never do that again.
Not even that, but it was
Jordan
like
used his passport, and that's it.
it was like an anomaly, right? It was the outlier. Like if you were doing like charting data, you'd cut the outliers out. So it'd be like, oh, we don't really count those two things.
Okay.
So this really felt special to me. And so even though we didn't spend a ton of time there, I do have this like soft spot for being in Missoula and being in Montana and walking around. Like when we were in that pizza place, I mean, it was packed. There was a ton of people. I mean, it was just very, there was a lot of like,
it was alive. There was a lot of energy.
it was alive and good energy.
And I think, I mean, it's interesting because I also feel that way. Like just when we were in Missoula, and even though it was a really short amount of time, like it left such a positive impact that it's clearly why we went. We wanted to go back this other road trip, and yeah, and so we like roll in.
Well, because we almost didn't roll into Missoula because so on this, the second time we went to Missoula was last year in 2024. It's like the very start of our cross-continental 2-month road trip. Missoula was really like the first like major stop. Like it felt like we were crossing into the unknown.
Yeah. We got it.
But we almost didn't go because when we were in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, we almost got coerced or like, I don't know, there was something in the air. We're like, oh, we could go to Silverwood's theme park.
Oh yeah,
Idaho's premier theme park.
We were close. We seriously debated, and then I think we made the right call. In the end, we were like, no, stay the course. Let's go to Missoula.
Because by making this small choice and not going to the theme park, the Idaho theme park, and choosing to drive like the 3 hours or whatever to Missoula, we stumbled upon a moment of serendipity that is so special and ridiculous.
And that was a really fun way to start this road trip.
Right. And we would have totally missed it had we been like, let's go to the theme park. And we probably would have had a miserable time. You know, you never know.
Right.
Again, hindsight's 2020. We had a moment, we had a fork in the road, and we chose Missoula because of the pizza. Because of the pizza place.
So we roll in.
And we didn't even know if the pizza place was open. Because, you know, with the pandemic, like so many things and like beloved restaurants, so many things had closed. And so we're like, what are the odds that it survived? And the explorers need to know Missoula is like one of the premier college towns in Montana.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, a college town is really nice because there's a lot of energy. It's booming, it's active. And, you know, like you and I aren't generally hanging out in college towns, but I feel like when we roll in, generally I think there can be a good vibe, but I think that there's especially a good energy in Missoula. So and I don't know what that's about.
And Biga Pizza is like pretty near campus, and I will say there is probably something. I mean, this is like just from my own experience with college towns, like the time I was in like Corvallis and just like my ties to Corvallis, which is another college town with Oregon State University. Missoula is University of Montana, but I imagine that just being a college town, I think you get an influx in people just supporting businesses. You know, you get a fresh crop of people every year, be like, "Oh, this is a special thing," and I imagine that buoys businesses more than in other
places.
And probably keeps things alive longer than they should.
For sure. Because you're right. It's like people that are going to school there, and you're like the kids that need to go, but people that are visiting them, or even like, right, people come into town for sporting events, or, I mean, even just you're coming to look at the college and you're not even going to go there. I mean, yeah, just like an influx of people all the time.
So, original trip, we go have our pizza, we drive around Missoula. It's night. It's, you know, mid-October or something, and it's really pretty. We drive out. We take our leftover pizza like on the road trip, and we just, I think, leave it in our car because the place we stayed didn't have a refrigerator. So I mean, that pizza was like sacred. It was like, oh, our pizza.
For sure.
This time, Biga Pizza, still open, still there.
I mean, it's the first thing. We roll into town and we're like, we gotta go to Biga.
And thankfully, we get into Missoula around like 8 p.m. or something. And there's like a decent amount of traffic, you know?
Yeah, it was active. It was a hopping night, and we're like, okay. Anyway, found parking. Yay. And then walked into the pizza place. It's very busy.
I thought it was like close to being. Oh, the town is busy. I feel like Biga was dead.
No.
Really?
No. Biga was active, but everybody was leaving.
Right.
And so we had to wait a little bit. And then we eventually, we sat down. I went to the bathroom, came back, and.
Well, because we talked to the hostess kid who was probably, you know, like college student. And he was like, I don't know, kind of sweaty, kind of exasperated. Right. I'm like, what's going on, dude?
Talking about how busy it had been all night and how everybody's here for like the concert. And we're like, okay.
And he was like, yeah, you know, because Pearl Jam's in town tonight. And I feel like my brain melted and it fell into a puddle. And I was like, wait, Pearl Jam's here?
And so come to find out, Pearl Jam was doing a concert.
Well, they had hosted, I mean, they were there for the concert, but they had also put on something that Pearl Jam calls the R Village. R Village, which is like some sort of like free festival where they showcase and partner with like local nonprofits. They have activities going on. They bring in like other musicians to have like, you know, free concerts throughout the day. So it was just kind of like a festival atmosphere that we missed out on. But this has just been going on all day. I think because we were in like the weeks before, maybe like a couple weeks before like school started at University of Montana, I think they were probably just like maybe welcoming people back. But I think it was mostly just like partnering with these like nonprofits and just like this thing to do.
Yeah, I mean, like this happened almost exactly a year ago. It was
August 22nd, 2024.
Yep. I mean, I just remember hearing that Pearl Jam was just right down the road and we could go. And I feel like we were hungry. And it was like, we initially were going to eat there.
Yeah, because we liked that environment. We liked being in that space. But yeah, we definitely called an audible, and we were like,
Can we get this to go?
which definitely felt like we were like betraying Biga. We're like, oh, sorry, you guys. But they gave us some paper plates, some napkins, and I think we had asked like about the concert, and I think the same host kid was like, well, you could hike to the M.
Right. And we were like, what?
Yeah, because we're like, we don't have tickets to Pearl Jam. You know, we're not gonna be able to get in because apparently it was sold out. I think.
Right.
Which the capacity, because they were playing at like the football stadium on the University of Montana campus, and the capacity for that football stadium for a concert is like over 25,000.
Yeah.
So yeah, he was like, oh, a popular thing that people do is they hike to the M.
Right.
Because in Montana, and I think a lot of other like Western states, and we notice this especially in Montana, that in various towns, they just love to find a hillside or a mountain, and they're just going to put a monogram, a big old letter representing the town or something, into the mountainside. Well, something that I had read about Missoula's M was that they had an original one, something had happened, it was destroyed, they had replaced it with a more permanent one, but then for like 40 years or something, like a part of like the university's like initiation for the freshmen was that all the freshman class had to go and like restore it every year. Like the freshmen of University of Montana had to go like whitewash this thing and like pull the weeds, and they did that until like the late 60s.
Wow.
And then eventually they had replaced it, like something had happened, like and then they replaced it with this like I think 100-foot by 130-foot like giant concrete M, which is the one that we saw. And so this M kind of overlooks the university. And so a popular thing that people do to watch, you know, events in the stadium or watch a concert for free is that they'll hike up to the M or that area, which is just a bunch of switchbacks. And I think you and I, we went to like the trailhead. Like we had walked.
I mean, yeah, that's the kicker, right? Is it was like, we're getting these instructions where it's like, yeah, it's like so easy. Just go here and here. But, you know, hey, we don't know the campus, right? And so we're trying to like figure it out. I feel like we're trying to follow the instructions on our phone, trying to like figure it out. I mean, like, and it's getting darker.
And roads are like traffic patterns have changed to like accommodate for the concert.
Right. And so.
And we had our pizza. Didn't want the pizza to go cold.
Totally. We were hungry. We were ready.
But also, you know, we're in Montana, the land of like dangerous animals. We were like, anywhere. There could be a grizzly anywhere.
Well, and we had the pizza, so.
And no bear spray.
So yeah, we had thought about it, and I think we eventually came to the perspective of like, we don't know where this trailhead is. But
and I think that we like did ask somebody too, like, you know, a pedestrian on the street. Anyway, the point is that we were not sure, and then we didn't want to risk it to miss the concert.
Or risk like getting lost, which I don't think we would have necessarily gotten lost. Okay, but I had read that a lot of these touring companies in charge of these concerts, or maybe the bands themselves, have they know about this well-known secret that people go and like get free tickets by hiking the M. So maybe the concert last year, the one that we would have tried to hike to, I think maybe they closed the trailheads or something. And I had read on Reddit that maybe like security or local police like are patrolling it and kicking people off the trail.
Wow.
Is what I had read. You know, it was just anecdotally. So maybe even if we had done it.
There we go.
So ultimately, we just walked around campus fairly lost, kind of like, you know, walking around with our pizza.
We tried to walk through and they were like, do you have your ticket?
Yeah,
And we're
security was like, eh.
Yeah. So we're like, okay, well, I guess we'll walk around.
And I think we tried to sweet talk and we're like, so, can we just walk through? And they were like, no. And I'm like, well, okay.
So then we walk to the other side. Fine. It's like the back side of the concert.
But as we're walking, like, we hear the band. Like, we hear Pearl Jam playing. Like, it is so loud, which is crazy. And I was like, wow. It's like, I feel like I was being like, you know, Yogi Bear, like going to a picnic basket. I was like, oh, wow, the sound of Pearl Jam.
Yeah, it was very surreal to just like be there for this special concert with Pearl Jam, which is also a Pacific Northwest band.
Seattle, baby.
So, we felt that kindred spirit a little bit.
But I think at one point we just sat on like a stone, I don't know, railing and started to like eat the pizza. And we're like, we were like, this is fine. We could kind of hear it. But I think I was getting antsy and I was like, no, let's keep like looking around. Which ultimately we did circle the entire like stadium and ended up in like the backside. I don't even know.
Yeah, we were on the backside, like so the back of the stage, and so we could see the backside of the stage. I feel like you could kind of see somebody playing guitar at some points and like the lights of the show. But yeah, we were just kind of on this little grassy hill
next to a fence.
Behind a chain-linked fence.
And like, the bathrooms. But there was this tree right next to us. And it must have just been the communal, like, I can't take my bag into the concert tree. Mm-hmm. And so it was like Christmas. Like everyone had adorned this tree with like their backpacks or
fanny
their purses, their fanny packs.
So many bags.
Things, booze. I mean, it was just like everywhere. And no one was like touching it. It was just like, here's, it was very nice. It was utopian in that way.
It was nice.
But we were also on the side where I guess all the workers who were going to deconstruct the set were starting to fill in.
All the crew started showing up, and so we slowly watched them trickle.
Yeah, but they could trickle in.
We watched them trickle in.
And they would get like different shirts based on maybe what their job was. Mm-hmm. And it was all like, I wanted to join in and join the crowd and get a shirt. And then, because it said like Pearl Jam, like crew shirt or whatever. But we just sat in the grass. We ate our pizza. It was such a nice, pleasant experience because we could hear the band so well at that point. Mm-hmm. We heard them play Even Flow and these other like iconic songs. And it was just really nice and really special to just sit there and listen to it and eat our pizza.
So then I feel like we were like, all right, well, we should probably, because, we're not going to spend the night. We've already spent hours longer than we had originally planned to be in Missoula. And so, like, maybe we'd kind of start meandering towards the car. And then, as we were walking, we realized, I don't know, security just gave up. Like, everybody was gone. I'm like, hello? Like, the concert's still happening. Like, everybody is gone.
Yeah, the concert... I mean, it didn't sound like it was wrapping up. I mean, it'd been going on for a decent amount of time at this point. I mean, we had sat there for probably 45 minutes or something just listening.
I think at least.
Just, in our little patch. But yeah, security just kind of packed up, moved on out.
So we just walked over, walked in, and then all of a sudden we were at the concert with everybody else.
I could see Eddie Vedder in his, Chicago Bears jersey. And it was so cool to see Pearl Jam. I had never seen them in concert.
It was pretty sweet and a really fun way to start this trip. And to feel really, just like it was a full concert. There was, how many people did you say? 25,000 people?
Something like that. I didn't count.
But
yeah, it was crazy to walk in and just see it all full. Mm-hmm. This stadium. And they had massive screens that they were showing. I mean, it was a production. It was wild. And, obviously we didn't have seats. We were kind of standing in a walkway that was maybe also for people with disabilities. I think we would have stayed longer, but security at one point showed up, I think to get rid of people who were intoxicated.
I think so too.
They were also nearby us, and I was like, I don't want to get asked to leave. But I do regret the fact that we did leave because we did stay in the concert venue. We stayed in the stadium for probably a half hour listening to some songs. Mm-hmm. And then we had moved to a different part in the stadium also where that was kind of standing room. I don't even know where we were. It was maybe concessions, but we had a really good view there also.
Yeah, we moved around. We checked out the different spots. I think we really enjoyed it. In my memory, I feel like I was encouraging us to leave because, again, thousands and thousands and thousands of people were going to exit, and our car was there, and we needed to
because we were
GTFO.
Parked really close to the stadium. Mm-hmm. I don't even know if it was an actual parking spot, but it was just near a field, and
right?
Just parked.
Right. It was so close to where all these people were going to exit.
Right.
And I was like, we are gonna get stuck.
I mean, yeah, it would have been a mess. But yeah, so we had left. I begrudgingly left, but I knew that we needed to get going. And
What was nice is like we could still hear them like as we walked to the car.
Yeah, we
and
went and drove and got gas.
You know,
Could still hear them.
being serenaded
By Pearl Jam. It was a special way to leave Missoula, for sure. But yeah, on the way out, yeah, I had seen on their encore, like maybe like their set list, that maybe they're gonna play "Rockin' in the Free World," and that was gonna be their last song of their encore, because their encore was gonna be like 8 songs or something.
That's right.
And yeah, if they'd played "Rockin' in the Free World," God, I would have loved to hear that. But it would have been the last song. It would have been crazy. But yeah, we fueled up. We left. We were gonna stay in Missoula that night. Obviously, that wasn't gonna happen.
We couldn't find a place to stay.
Nothing. So we ended up driving like an hour and 45 to Helena. So we drove east to Helena to keep going with this road trip. But yeah, what a cool way to start a road trip. The fact, and I just want to like the explorers at home to like just realize that like this tiny little moment that we had years before in a pizza place was the only driving force that made us go back to Missoula, specifically to go have this pizza, which turned into this whole thing of like
Right.
the serendipity of like finding out the Pearl Jam was there, that we could go listen to them, that we could go on our own like little side quest. And just those like little moments that you have, like maybe they will reverberate and there'll be echoes like later on in your life that will pay off.
Yeah. It was a very fun, special memory. And so I think just Missoula, it's a happy, warm, fuzzy feeling, I think, when I think of it.
So, did you have a relationship with Pearl Jam? I mean, we've listened to a decent amount, but did you have any?
I mean, as much as I have a relationship with any band, I think that there's music that I like, and then I find out later that it's the same artist. Like I wasn't buying their albums and listening to their full album, but yeah, there's like so many Pearl Jam songs that I know and I like, and so that was very fun.
Well, also Pearl Jam, and he must have opened for them, but he also came in and played along several points in the concert. Was Glenn Hansard, the guy from Once?
Oh yeah.
The Irish guy who falling slowly.
You know, I watched that in the movie theater at Bend at Old St. Francis, the McMinimans, with my Aunt Jean and cousin Jessica.
Wow.
Yep. And I was like, what's this movie about?
And you said, one day I'm going to go see that guy
in concert
on accident. Okay. So this was this Pearl Jam thing in Missoula was part of like a week-long like concert series, I found out. And so after Pearl Jam, they had like a country star. But then a few days later, they had Pink.
Well.
And I'm really happy that we saw Pearl Jam. But man, can you imagine if we saw Pink?
That would have been fun.
That would have been fun.
Well, we'll see. You just got to hang out in Montana more.
I guess so.
Missoula.
So I want to talk more about Missoula itself. So one of the nicknames for Missoula, did you see this?
Mm-mm.
One of the nicknames for Missoula is ZooTown.
Oh.
And I saw a couple different things just to see like why they were calling it ZooTown. One of the, I believe, incorrect things of why it's called ZooTown. And again, you can't trust anything on the internet, but it was like, they call it ZooTown because there used to be a zoo on the property that the University of Montana now sits on. And I think they were like, no, there's never really been a zoo in this part of Montana.
Cool.
So that was weird.
Okay.
And then I saw something from like the local radio station, and they were saying it's called ZooTown because of Zoo.
Yeah, I got it. I got it.
I didn't get it till I read it.
Oh, I heard it right away.
See, because you're good at nicknames.
Right. I just get it.
You're like, yeah, ZooTown. I also think Missoula is one of those like keep blank weird towns. So
I thought I saw something about it being like a Western blah, blah, blah.
Okay. A Western blah, blah, blah?
You know, the title was cut off but I was like, it's a kind of Western town. You know, your boss, when you were at the newspaper.
He's from Kalispell.
I feel like he was talking about Missoula.
Yeah, I mean, because he was from Western Montana. He had those relationships, but yeah.
I just feel like he was like, yeah, it's such a cool college town. And we're like, yeah.
He also liked Bozeman a lot because his daughter was going to Bozeman at that time. And I don't know, I think we liked both, but I feel like we liked Missoula more than Bozeman.
Yeah.
Not that we're comparing. So a little bit more about Missoula. So originally, Front Street, which is it runs parallel to Main Street, which is like where Biga Pizza was in like the downtown of Missoula. So once upon a time, when they were first like developing this area or colonizing, whichever one you want to say, they it was home to like a Chinese community.
Oh.
But also was home to a thriving red light district, according to the city of Missoula.
Classic.
And I'm like, what's up with that? Because I do feel like Helena also kind of had this relationship. They had this like Helena, Montana, had this like, Chinatown, but also there was like relations with like the red light district. So I don't know like why those two things are like near each other.
Service the workers.
I guess so. So, yeah, but it was interesting because for Missoula, they didn't call it a Chinatown. They just said a Chinese community. So, I don't know what the distinction there was. But the name for Missoula comes from maybe some Salish word, ne Missoula taku. And so they just like took like a part of that. And they're like, yeah, now it's called this now.
Great.
Yeah, so thanks, guys.
There's like a river that flows.
A river runs through it.
Well, yeah. Apparently it flows through the downtown. And again, we were in, we were out. But I think it's called Clark Fork River. And I just appreciate a body of water in a downtown.
Well, I mean, I think a lot of development happened around waterways. And I didn't really realize that as a kid. But yeah, I mean, when cities would kind of build up around these like ports or waterways. Interesting that it has like that Clark name. Because Lewis and Clark did go through this area of Montana on the Corps of Discovery. But it's interesting because, like, the main goal of the Lewis and Clark expedition was for them, like, Thomas Jefferson really wanted to find this, like, fabled Northwest Passage. He wanted to find this body of water that would connect the West Coast to the East Coast. So they assumed, I think they assumed, like, the Columbia River would go all the way through.
I see.
And hit like, I don't know, the Missouri River or something. So that was like what they had hoped to find. Wah, wah. Come to find out the Columbia River goes north. So I mean, it starts from the Pacific and then goes up. And so I feel like they were very disappointed. So I think technically like their whole expedition was kind of a failure when you think about it. Just attempting to find this like mythical waterway that didn't actually connect.
Maybe not a failure. Maybe just an unexpected twist. Didn't turn out the way that you thought.
There is a Dairy Queen in Missoula.
Oh my God, a Dairy Queen?
I know, and that's a love language for you, for sure.
Oh, come on.
So it's been open over 60 years. I think it's one of those, like, an OG kind of Dairy Queen. But...
Well, you were talking about those college kids supporting.
I know,
Okay, yeah.
So it closes every year for the winter.
The whole winter?
I guess. But I don't even know, like, what do we design? Like, I couldn't find, like, a set, like, we close after Thanksgiving. It's just closed, quote unquote, during the winter. But it opens seasonally every year on Valentine's Day.
Wow.
So...
That's interesting. I wonder if it's just like so snowy or like where the location is. Like it's too dangerous for them to be open.
I don't know. Missoula is also known as like the Garden City because apparently like its climate is good for agriculture in terms of like the rest of Montana.
I mean, unfortunately, both times that we have visited is around the same time of the year.
But not really, because we went through in August and the other time was October. So
okay, well, that's true.
Once was fall, once was summer.
Fine.
But they were both, I mean, the weather was nice both times.
Mm-hmm. And similar.
Mm-hmm. Similar time of day.
Mm-hmm.
I'd love to see Missoula in the morning.
Totally.
I'd love to get coffee in Missoula.
I think, yeah, that's probably our next. Well, we know we could make it in a day, so maybe we need to wrap this up
and hit the road. So, I mean, when we go to Missoula next, and inevitably go to Biga Pizza again, I mean, and hopefully something ridiculously serendipitous happens to us. Is there anything that like you are hoping to do, or you think that we should do the next time?
Yeah, I think we should hit up the trail and hike up to the M now that we know that it's there, and maybe not do it during a concert.
Well, there's also other mountains with letters in Missoula. There's Mount Jumbo, which is publicly owned and has been since 1996. It's quite the name,
Mount Jumbo.
But it has, what letter do you think is on this mountain?
J.
L.
All right. Unexpected. Unexpected, Missoula. ZooTown.
Because maybe it's like, maybe some people call it Latoya, or it's like some Laloya. There's some name like that. But maybe it's in relation to some Catholic school. Maybe they put an L on there.
I don't know. Well, again, I mean, there's a bunch of kids kind of.
Well, that's also what I read is like these letters on mountains is for like school pride or town pride. And so obviously if it's like school pride, you're like, yeah, let's put that letter up there. It was so weird to drive through Montana and be like, oh, look,
another letter.
It felt like we were driving through Sesame Street.
Yeah.
Okay, so
well, what about you?
So you want to do the switchback just in general and then look into the stadium, the empty stadium?
I was just like, we could hike up to the M and see what we missed out on. And I mean, I would like to do more. I think that there are more walking trails and, like I said, views of the river.
They also have like a cool like little amphitheater. I would just probably like to go like, when they're doing like, I think when there's like a lot going on in Missoula, because I do feel like it's good for it, is what it seemed like. A lot of like cultural events. And that sounded very nice.
Yeah.
So that's something that I'd like to do.
Missoula.
We're coming back for you.
Yeah.
Well, friends, mostly this episode was about this ridiculous concert that we had gone to.
It was a Pearl Jam story episode.
And we needed you to know that.
So thanks for sticking this out.
Can you do your best Eddie Vedder impression?
I don't know who that is.
He's the lead singer of Pearl Jam.
Hey! No.
That's very nice. I mean, I like your singing voice.
I think it's time to wrap this up.
So, friends, thank you so much for listening to this. Again, if you want to give us a review on whatever platform you're listening to us, I think that helps us out somehow.
Sure.
We would love it. Leave us a comment even, and I'll go ahead and read some of those.
Wow.
If they ever show up.
Maybe I'll leave a comment.
Ooh. Also, please share your travel stories. We would love to share them. We would love to listen to any sort of like travel anecdote you might have, and you can send those to exploreigonianspodcast@gmail.com. You can either send it in a quick little voice memo, or you could write it down with your words. Send that in, and we'd love to share it and spotlight you on our podcast in a future episode.
Heck yeah.
You can also find us on exploreigonians.podcast on Instagram. Ooh, to get some visual elements for some of these stories.
Yeah, we're going to post some pics of our Pearl Jam experience.
Yeah, of us jamming, us Pearl jamming.
Pearl jamming.
So, this leads us to our next episode. What should we do? Where should we go?
We're going coastal. Next week, we're going to take you to Cannon Beach, Oregon.
Oh my God. I feel like I heard the salivation of people in Portland.
I mean, anybody who's anybody knows about Cannon Beach.
You mean Cannon? Ew, that feels dirty.
All right. Okay.
Explorers, thank you so much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Had to cut this episode a little short because we got to get ready for our play.
Play practice.
Yeah, ooh. So thank you so much, and we will catch you next week as we head back to the Oregon coast.
Bye. Hi.
Hi, what's your name?
My name's Katie.
That's not legally your name.
Katie.
Katie.
I feel like I was really like in the back of my throat. I was like, Katie.